Every good mix engineer is just a producer in the closet, Jaycen Joshua. So I'm sure it's no secret that I love mixing, bro. As a producer, I think it's one of the most important things, and you guys have probably heard me say that a lot. But it was really reassuring to hear Jaycen Joshua make this kind of statement and have this kind of sentiment on his Help Me Devon podcast episode. And it really did spark something dormant in me on some like Goku achieving Super Saiyan 3 type shit. It was really crazy. Like, this entire podcast really made me whip out an entire fresh Notion page and really start taking like detailed notes. I'm talking like thousands of words. But if you don't know who Jaycen Joshua is, he's definitely someone you'd want to study if you do pretty much like anything in music, but particularly if you do anything even remotely related to popular music, because he's probably touched it at some point. I mean, he's worked with everybody from Beyonce to Lil Baby to Bad Bunny and everyone in between. He's touched pretty much every genre there is, and bro has over 1 trillion streams. So the she is really crazy. I think one of the most interesting parts of the entire video though was that a lot of what he talks about is very non-technical. Like, you'd expect such a legend in the game to be all about the nerd talk, but this guy could not be more vibey if he tried. Like, let's actually go back to that quote for a second that I talked about at the beginning. This statement on its own, every good mix engineer is just a producer in the closet, coming from someone like Jaycen Joshua, is already latent with meaning on its own. But in the context of the video clip that he said it, bro, it will really break your brain. Check this out.
Like, my mind thinks creatively.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I think like every dope mixer. Mm-hmm. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Is a fucking producer in the closet. In the fucking closet. I don't care.
Right.
You secretly have dreams like, man, I could make, but we don't have no melodies. Yeah. We are, or I consider myself an extension of the producer. I'm the producer's producer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because if it was right where they left off, then that's where it would be. And sometimes that's where they want it to be.
Yeah. Right.
And, you know, technology has put producers in a very, very better seat than they were before in creative, you know, decisions and stuff like that. But like with me, going back to shooting a video for KP, it's no different than, it's art. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I interior decorate.
Wow.
Right.
I love going to museums.
Right.
So what we do is a gift. You know what I mean? That a lot of people can't do. Right. And a lot of people don't understand.
And now I finally understand why I'm so obsessed with mixing. It's all really just a part of it. It's like production basically implies mixing, because at the end of the day, we're really just trying to make it sound good regardless of how we get there. And it's like, you can't really get to something sounding good without mixing in terms of production. And it's hard to get to something sounding good from the perspective of going at it with mixing without coming at it from that creative mindset of being a producer. So it's like, to me, based off what he said, they really go hand in hand for real. And there was one particular technique that Jaycen alluded to as being particularly powerful towards this goal of achieving the best sounding audio possible. So I'm always talking about how important EQ is. It's like, y'all be seeing me say it till I'm blue in the face, but it was good to have a lot of my mixing and mastering theories from the perspective of equalization be confirmed by what he had to say on this particular topic. When they asked him how he creates depth at the insanely and admirably high loudness levels that he's able to get, that he's known for, he revealed this frequency carving secret.
I always tell people, you're fighting voltage. You know, you're fighting a mathematical battle to get as much information before 0 dB full scale. So my first, because I didn't do this in the beginning, and there wasn't a need to until Serban took us to Mach 9. And when I realized we had to play at Mach 9, I said to myself, okay, whenever something is hitting at the same time and it's masking and they're in the same frequency range, I'm dipping everything. I'm dipping one's going to win, one's going to lose.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's the carve out. It's the like you'll have a bass line, right? And then here comes some roads that are like 300, 400, 500 hertz. And you're saying to yourself, all right, man, this sounds incredible. This sounds amazing.
Right.
But if you simply unmask that crossover point where the two instruments meet, all of a sudden it opens up.
Right.
That's why, like, back in the day, I would walk into, because I was be his assistant for the day, but an Andy Wallace mix.
Okay.
And he'd use nothing but the SSL. And it would always be reducing. And the mix would sound. And then, so me being a audio nerd, sneaking in like, all right, let me take all these EQs out to see what the fuck, because all he did was EQ.
Yeah. Right.
Change the game.
Right.
Because you got to understand, you have all this information, and if this information is masking other instruments, it's like, I didn't even know that instrument was there. It was like, yeah, because the strings was fucking killing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just, example that everyone knows with the bass, it's like if the kick and the bass are hitting at the same, like you'll have something, when drummers will play the kick and the snare at the same time, and they'll hit, and then the bass line will hit, and the vocals hitting, everything's hitting at the same time. So it's like you're not going to see any depth with regards to volume level without helping yourself out.
So this sort of frequency carving magic trick, honestly, is something that I've been trying to learn and master for the better part of like 18 months, honestly. So just in my recent single, Do Anything, it was something that I used to really accentuate my vocals. I would go to every track that wasn't this vocal composite track, and I would add a neutron equalizer that would unmask, because neutron and isotope VSTs in general just have this really dope cross-linking functionality where they can read each other's like data and stuff. So what I'm doing is just comparing this melody composite to say the vocals. So if we take a listen, it's going to show you that this melody composite is dipping frequencies away from that vocal so that the vocal can sit a little bit better.
Now them shooters at your house, any amount, he a mouse, so we gotta take him out. Nigga broke, filet o trout, we got rich by running routes. Kept this shit on fucking lock, like my name was Eddie House. Shout out all my Crips, blue bandana on my head.
And just to show you one more spot that I took advantage of this was with the low end. So I just came in and did another neutron equalizer, a little bit more subtle and a little bit more use of the dynamic equalization, because I didn't want to take out too much like mid frequency, and I definitely didn't want to lose some of that tasteful treble from the 808, but I definitely did want to unmask some of that power, because as Jaycen was talking about, it's a battle of voltage at the end of the day. It's a game of seeing how much you can get without running out of that voltage. So that's what I did here. So let's take a listen.
Now them shooters at your house, any amount, he a mouse, so we gotta take him out. Nigga broke, filet o trout, we got rich by running routes. Kept this shit on fucking lock, like my name was Eddie House. Shout out all my...
So that's actually not just the 808, it's the entire tonal composite, because I did have this kind of like low mid sub bass kind of going on along with the 808 to fill up frequencies. Not for that purpose, honestly, because it just sounded nice. And that goes into what Jaycen was talking about with that first point, and shows how it blends with this more technical point. It shows that like creativity and the technicals have a lot to do with coming together to help you get something that sounds really good. By the way, check out the single. It's linked down in the description below, please. By the way, if you want to learn for free like my exact vocal mixing workflows, consider joining my newsletter, because I'm going to be sharing a lot of that there. A lot of behind the scenes for stuff that I'm working on for my own catalog, but also the stuff that I work on for other people as well. I'm going to start sharing a lot of that on the newsletter. We also have a really nice community, and it comes with a bunch of other dope stuff. So check it out in the first link in the description if you're interested. But getting back to it, I know you did not think that equalization was the only trick that Jaycen had for creating space and loudness. Come on, bro. This guy is like the Michael Jordan, or hey, I think Kobe's the greatest of all time. I think all sane people think that, but hey, all that nonsense aside, he is like the greatest of all time when it comes to this. So bro has got multiple tricks and techniques in the bag. He can hit you with that triple threat position and you don't know what he's gonna come at you with. And so a little later in the podcast, Jaycen talks about how he doesn't like having to pick between what he wants to shine more in his low end, the kick or the 808, which makes sense when you think about how those have to kind of compete. That's the traditional understanding of those two instruments, is like you kind of have to have them compete based on the frequencies that they perform in. And so he goes on to talk about his theory on how sidechaining allows you to have as much of both as you want.
I never liked the fact that you had to choose between the kick and the bass. Hey, what's gonna win? You gotta fucking kick. What frequency? You dip the kick here and you dip the bass there. It's like it's I was like, man. And then that's when that technique came to part. Like, wait, the kick has the same oomph as the bass. You don't notice it So that's when I started doing that.
The trim tool with the gain, with the clip gain.
Double up. So we do the trim tool early in my career, like on that first when I released it, I was just doing the trim.
Okay.
But then I got what would you think, like another dB and a half of headroom once I put the sidechain, the Soothe on top.
Gotcha.
We were rudimentary back in the day. We were doing like whatever compressor we thought was the fastest, and then we would have to print it and move it because it wouldn't be fast enough. Right. You know what I mean? That's another plugin that I wouldn't. It might be integrated in Bass Invader. The greatest sidechain ever made. Like I don't understand with all the look aheads and all. Why can it not start right on that first tick?
Right.
You know, instead of like a little bit back or whatever. Like doesn't make any sense.
Right. Bass Invader. Is that something you're thinking about?
No, it's already in production.
Gotcha.
Speaking of,
like right now, Orion's just for drums.
Right.
You can use it for 808s and stuff like that, but it's just for your percussive drums, so your kicks, your snares, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But with Bass Invader, it's a different compressor, same drive section as Orion, different compressor, saturation. It actually splits the bass into 2 frequencies, so when you put the plugin on, it's automatically low end, high end. You can spread the high end.
Oh, you multed it.
Got you. Yeah, it's crazy. And then it has the built-in greatest sidechain ever made.
Right. Oh my. So you're gonna mult it within the plugin and then just let it react to the. Wow. So that's how you're gonna have.
And I got my my Duke graduate, supreme mix engineer Mike working on the only task I need from him. Is for Orion and Bass Invader to communicate with each other. So you don't have to send a sidechain. It already reads the kick from the Orion.
From the Orion, it just does it automatically.
That's so sick. Bass Invader on the way, y'all.
Wow.
I just realized something absolutely hilarious. FL Studio has this terrible glitch where once you start sidechaining stuff, it'll like mess up your sidechains basically. If you're using the Fruity limiter, and I would imagine that glitch probably extends to anything you can sidechain. But basically I wanted to show you, I used that sidechaining technique to sidechain another big sounding drum, my clap in this track, to all of the low end stuff to have it kind of shine through, because I always want that main snare or clap to cut through the mix. And in general, you kind of want like your low end to cut through, you want that main clap to cut through, and then you want your lead vox or melody to be something that's very present as well. Come to find out, because of this glitch, my clap never actually sidechained. It glitched out and made like the sub sidechain to the, I don't know what ended up happening, but apparently it messed up my mix a little bit, because I just realized that my clap was not nearly as present in the final mix that I exported as I'm hearing it now that I just fixed it. I'm trying in real time not to get mad about it. Image line, for the love of God, fix the glitch. We don't need any more FL Cloud stuff. Just fix the glitches, bro. That being said, check out how this clap dips all these low end kind of instruments and stuff in this composite track and allows it to shine without me losing too much character from my low end.
Now them shooters at your house, any amount. He a mouse, so we gotta take him out. Nigga broke, filet trout. We got rich by running routes. Kept this shit on fucking lock, like my name was Eddie House. Shout out all my crips, blue band.
Now if we were to turn off the sidechain, listen to it again.
Now them shooters at your house, any amount. He a mouse, so we gotta take him out. Nigga broke, filet trout. We got rich by running routes. Kept this shit on fucking lock, like my name was Eddie House.
So you could kind of hear how it's being covered up by everything else, because there's nothing to dip out those frequencies when it comes in, or there's nothing to dip out the signal when that clap comes in, which is what happened in my final mix. Or at least I think so. I'm gonna go back and check. I'm a little tight about it. But I do wanna show you one more example of sidechaining in another track that I will be releasing. So this is a track by any means that I'm working on with my homie Treby. It's gonna be dropping this December. We might push it back to January, we'll see. Your boy is actually really busy, but I do wanna show you how I've got some really dope sidechaining going from this big drum bus, which has my main snare and the main kick, sidechain to the melody composite, to the sub composite, and to the little drums as well. So if we start playing it, and then we take a look at this limiter, it's receiving signal from those big drums and it's dipping signal away. And honestly, I think I want a little bit more on that melody. And then same thing, let's go here to this limiter, because I'm still working on this mix in real time, honestly. Yeah, I like that impact with it too, in a shorter release and the immediate attack. I think I went in immediate attack for the melody one too. And I actually don't have one on my little drums yet. So I'm gonna drag this preset over, sidechain to this, make sure it's sidechaining the correct signal, then just set it up. I'll probably mix that. That's sounding clean. Then just check on it, because you never know with that glitch, bro. You never know with that goofy glitch, man. Always check your side chains. Make sure. That's sounding clean though. Yeah, I can't wait to drop that. Jaycen Joshua is someone I study a lot, so it was definitely a pleasure to watch this podcast. And I really think that if you want to be a better producer, it's important to study not only producers, but also it's important to study producers, but you also want to study mixers and ARs, because they're really just producers with like different titles. But those titles kind of indicate specific things that they're really good at in terms of production, and you can learn how to be really good at those specific aspects of production by studying those people. So if you want to improve with gems from one of the greatest AR producers of our generation in Rick Rubin, check out this video appearing on your screen now.